right, we have a new feature today, our crappy culture. There it is. I love it. We've even misspelled crappy and culture, which I think is excellent music. Good job. This is kind of a tough day. It's a tough day for comedy. Let's put it that way. It is really a tough day for comedy. We haven't even mentioned the two police officers who died in a chopper crash while trying to patrol these events in Charlottesville. So I don't want to go off too far afield, and I want to talk a little bit in our crappy culture. One of the things that is crappy about our culture is the mainstreaming of bigotry from the left, almost exclusively, that has given these clowns on our side, our evildoers, it has given our evildoers shelter. Okay, here is a piece, Tom Knighton at PJ Media linked to this piece. It's from the College Fix, and the College Fix covers, bad things that are happening in colleges. Stanford University, okay, this is one of the premier universities in the country. Stanford University is slated to offer a class this fall called White Identity Politics, during which students will, quote, survey the field of whiteness studies and discuss the, quote, possibilities of abolishing whiteness, according to the course descriptions, citing pundits who say, quote, the 2016 presidential election marks the rise of white identity politics in the United States. The upper-level anthropology seminar will draw from the field of whiteness studies and from contemporary writings that push whiteness studies in new directions. Questions to be posed throughout the semester include, does white identity politics exist? And how is a concept like white identity to be understood in relation to white nationalism, white supremacy, white privilege, and whiteness? Students will consider the perils and possibilities of different political practices according to the course descriptions, including abolishing whiteness or coming to terms with white identity. The course will be taught by instructor John Patrick Moran. Reached by email, Moran declined to comment. I'll bet he did. Instead, directing the College Fix to Stanford Communications Office, Ernest Miranda, a spokesman for Stanford, told the Fix via email that abolishing whiteness is a concept put forward in the 1990s by a number of white historians. Their belief was that if other white people would, like them, stop identifying politically as white, it would help end inequalities. Well, let me ask you this then. Okay, if white people are supposed to stop identifying as white, are black people supposed to stop identifying as black? Because if black people stop identifying as black, the Democratic Party would disappear. If the Democratic Party would stop convincing people to identify according to their race and according to their sex and according to their identity, the Democrat Party would disappear. Its policies don't work. Its cities are cesspools for the people they're supposed to help. I mean, look online at any place where blacks are being shot down, where they're living in squalor, where they're living in desperate situations. See who's been running that city since 1203. These places like Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis, they almost never have Republican governors or mayors. The fact that this philosophy, this progressive Democrat socialist philosophy has failed everywhere and has failed the people it's supposed to help is very, very well established. So the only thing they have is this grievance politics. Why on earth would Black Lives Matter? I mean, if a Democrat politician stands up and he says all lives matter, he gets shouted down. We've seen it. He gets booed off the stage. So what is it that makes Richard Spencer and these white Nazis, what is it that deprives them of their legitimacy in that world? What is it? Once you say that black people have a right to rise up as black people, why don't white people have a right to rise up as white people? You are eating the results of your own logic. I mean, was it Antonin Scalia who said that if you want to get rid of racist preferences, you have to stop preferring people on the basis of races? He was attacking affirmative action. Of course affirmative action is wrong. Of course it's wrong. It's wrong. See, this is the problem with the left. We're always talking about whether things work or not. They always have us in these kind of conversations about, well, does this improve things? Does this make life better? Does socialism make life fair? Socialism is wrong per se because the government has no right to take your property. It's your property. It has no right. It's stealing. Just because the government does it doesn't make it any less stealing. It is wrong per se. Racism is wrong per per se. Identifying people according to their color of their skin is wrong per se. We who believe in God know why it's wrong, but everybody knows it's wrong. We know why it's wrong. We know we were made in the image of God. We know the image of God has different colors, has different races, comes from different places. We know that we are meant to love one another. We know because we are people who believe in God. But even if you don't believe, you know this to be true down in your heart, that the idea of attacking somebody, not for what he does, but for what he is wrong. So why is it that the left has been allowed to mainstream this idea? If a white cop kills a black guy, it's immediately a racial issue. But who says it was? Who says it was? You know, how do you have proof? Do you have evidence that he was a racist? Instead, they have accepted, I've said this before, they have accepted the values of the people they think are oppressors and expect by those values to get to a different place. They think that there's been so much bigotry against black people, and God knows there certainly has in this country and in all countries, but this country has had a specific problem with it. There's been so much bigotry against black people that all we got to do is have some bigotry against white people like they're doing at Stanford, and the scales are going to balance. But all the bigotry goes in one side of the scale. That is the way it works. And the reason is simple. It goes back to Robert E. Lee in a way. It goes back to the way the past works. The past, history writes itself indelibly into the fabric of reality. Every sin, every evil, every bad thing that's happened writes itself indelibly into the fabric of what is going to happen next. Okay, so there's no getting away from the way that evil misshapes the generations. But each person who is born is given a soul of his own with which to start the world anew. Okay, each person is innocent. So when you say I'm going to fix the bigotry of the past against blacks by being bigoted against white people, you are harming innocence. The devil does not care who does the hating as long as the hating gets done. That is the thing. So when you have affirmative action and you exclude white people, you're excluding innocent white people. It's not the guys who did the crime. The guys who did the crime are gone. You cannot change the past. The only way to change the past is through forgiveness and grace and letting things go. And C.S. Lewis said it best. He said, everyone thinks forgiveness is a lovely idea until he has something to forgive. Okay, so it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but it is the only way forward. And these guys who think that Black Lives Matter, saying Black Lives Matter is not racist, it all goes in the same pot. It's all racism. The mainstreaming of racism is part of what is making our crappy culture. Hopefully better days ahead, but I feel that there's some troubled waters we're going to have to get through first. We will get through them. It's a great country. It's a great people. It is a great idea, and it will not go down easily to clowns like these. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show. We will talk some more tomorrow.